Like Justin said, I'm James Troyan. Today we're going to be talking about setting up memberships with MemberPress and LearnDash. I've been using WordPress since 2007. I'm the lead organizer of WordCamp Orlando. I'm also the LearnDash training specialist here at LearnDash. I'm the ambassador of WAPUs. If you don't know what WAPU is, it's the unofficial mascot of WordPress. When we actually have WordCamps, I help make a lot of WAPUs and swag for around the world for different WordCamps. I'm a father of 3. I really enjoy hanging out with my friends, and if I'm not online doing something, hanging out with the family, I'm usually making something. You can find me on Twitter at James Troyan, or if you found us already through Facebook group, you can hang out there, ask me any questions you like through the Facebook group. Today, what we're going to be covering is setting up a membership site, giving an overview of MemberPress itself, setting up a MemberPress site, integrating MemberPress with your LearnDash course. Going to go through a live demo and audience Q&A. This should be about 30 minutes plus questions. Feel free to ask questions as we go, but I'll also try to answer any at the end. If we run out of time or don't answer all the questions in today's meeting, I'm more than happy to figure out those answers for you guys or girls and post those into the Facebook group for anyone who has any questions. Cool. Like Justin said, I'd recommend anyone who's just getting started to check out any of our last webinars. Here's the link to our last webinar. I forgot to update that. I apologize. But like Justin said, LearnDash, search YouTube on LearnDash, you'll see them. And I'll make sure that the link to any of this webinar and any of the past webinars are linked in the Facebook group. Okay, this is a quick disclaimer. This webinar is for you. We are not selling anything besides giving the advice on LearnDash and MemberPress. This is not a paid promotion of MemberPress, and this really is just reviewing different membership plugins. We're starting with MemberPress. We'll do at least 3 or 4 others in the next coming months on different versions of membership plugins. This is not us recommending MemberPress. This is just a review how it works with LearnDash. And one other assumption moving forward, we're also under the assumption that you already are using LearnDash and you're looking to add a membership. So this webinar is not really going to be going over setting up LearnDash courses or anything like that, but we will be extending LearnDash to work with MemberPress. Also, I'm going to go through the next couple slides kind of fast because if you want to know more about memberships and different feedback on different features, check out the last webinar memberships. But I wanted to include some of these slides just as a starting point in case you missed that. And what is a membership site? Really, a membership site is any type of website that gives you a little bit of extra functionality to your members. Usually requires a login and just extends the functionality, providing a little bit of something extra, keeping your users involved. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next couple of slides. So should you be leveraging membership features with your LearnDash site, LearnDash LMS? I would say yes, but it doesn't mean you actually have to use a plugin for that. So let's talk about that. Do you need a membership plugin to use LearnDash? Answer is no. In fact, LearnDash will do a lot of this for you. It'll manage hide and show content based off of logged in users. You can allow users to sign up and buy single products. You can have subscriptions through LearnDash itself. But if you ever want to go a little bit further, let's say more detailed reporting, add coupon codes, maybe give someone access for one sale and get access to multiple courses, that's the point that you might want to start looking into a membership add-on. So some of the benefits of running a membership site: it keeps your users involved, recurring income. It helps you build a larger email list, adds value to your users. Automation, automated emails, drip campaigns, things like that. You have a community growth and involvement, and extending your users' interaction. And that's a lot like the community involvement, but you could also give users features that are independent features too. Common membership structure, we talked about this before, but this is about different setups. Whether you're selling courses or maybe you're selling access to your store. So sometimes people will set up a membership site with a lockdown store, and you can only get to your e-commerce by becoming a member first. Think of it like an online Costco. You could also do online communities, project-based subscriptions, service-based memberships like coaching and consulting. We talked about this stuff last week, but I wanted to give you guys a quick overview. I gave everyone a quick overview. Sorry about that. Another quick tip: a membership site is going to be resource intensive, especially if it's successful. You want multiple congruent users. Therefore, the better host, the better for your site. Now, I'm not going to necessarily recommend any hosting for this. I just would recommend not going with the cheapest approach, maybe something more managed or a little bit larger. I would recommend over $30 a month for hosting if you were going to really go after membership features. Here's some common membership features. Again, we're talking user profiles, loyalty points, maybe some SMS updating, discounts, private Slack messaging, private Facebook groups. But again, you can't charge for private Facebook groups. Multiple subscriptions, drip campaigns. Maybe you might want to add BuddyPress, forums, or some other type of your own version of a social media network. You could do all that with a membership site. And again, lots more of this last week. So this week we're going to be focusing on MemberPress. MemberPress is a premium WordPress memberships plugin that excels in memberships, groupings, coupons, reminders, reports, and more. That's what their website says. How MemberPress ties to LearnDash. You associate a membership with one or more courses, and it will automatically remove memberships upon cancellations of their accounts. So again, this is we'll go over how to tie this in together later on with using our integration plugin. It's really simple. It only takes about 5 minutes to do within the complete installation, but you can tie one or more courses to membership levels. And when you're dealing with MemberPress, a membership is kind of like a product or a single course, depending on how you're selling that. And we'll go over that a little bit more later. Here's some quick features of MemberPress itself. It's easy to use once you get set up and once you understand everything. I think it has a lot of features, but it actually is pretty easy once you understand what's going on. It's standalone, which means it is its own shopping cart. You do not need to use WooCommerce or Easy Digital Downloads or something else to actually extend the checkout experience. If you didn't want to use any checkout and you weren't doing this, you could still sell everything directly through LearnDash, but MemberPress does have its standalone shopping cart experience as well. It offers drip feed content. You can also set up lots of different things using drip feed content and free trials. So you can set up drip feed content on your larger courses, only show the first couple lessons, make sure that your drip feed content ties with your trial period so you don't ever give too much of your lessons away during the trial period too, which is a really nice feature. You can say, check out the first 2 lessons of my course during the first 10 days. And if you like that, you continue, the rest of the course is unlocked, and that's all automated. So that's a really nice feature. It works with built-in email marketing platforms, it does a lot of its sending as well, but you can integrate with MailChimp or any of the other popular email marketing tools. It has built-in subscriptions, payment plans. We'll go over this a little later too, but you can also say, I want to charge $10 a month for the next 10 months. And after that, I want the user to continue to have access. Or you can say, I want this course to expire after 10 months. So that's kind of nice. You can set it up as subscriptions or an actual payment plan and let the users have lifetime access. It does handle Stripe, PayPal, a couple different formats, authorized.net, offline payments, and as you can see, the rest of the stuff on the screen. Now, a couple cons. Now, this isn't necessarily cons. Let's start with the bottom. It's standalone. I also have this as a pro. This really depends on what the user wants to do, what you're doing. If you're looking to sell actual physical goods, you're probably going to need an additional e-commerce solution. That can be behind a gateway. A lot of users will actually add that as a perk or benefit to their memberships, locking that down inside MemberPress. So once you're a member, you can gain access to WooCommerce. Or it can be completely side by side, sell things that are not membership related, and then you can still buy memberships through WooCommerce. It also has a limited payment integration. Really limited? No. It works with Stripe, PayPal, authorized.net. You're going to answer most of your problems with those three. But occasionally you're going to run into a market that doesn't allow those types of payments, or different areas of the world that support different gateways that might not work in that situation. So just so you're aware, maybe a little bit limited on the payment integration. The price itself, one site, $149, two sites, $249, 5 sites, $349. Now, the big difference here is the first site and second site is the add-ons of the authorized.net extensions, better tax support, a couple other marketing add-ons, and then the only difference between the second tier and the third tier is the addition of 3 extra sites, and you get their Affiliate Royale add-on. Affiliate Royale is a different topic altogether, but that is their affiliate program. It can work with anything. It doesn't necessarily have to work with MemberPress. And MemberPress also works with Affiliate WP, so you're not locked into theirs. It works with both of those. They're both decent. That's a different webinar altogether. But $350 for 5 sites and a built-in affiliate system is worth it, I would think, based off of all the features and functions you get. It's a very well-supported plugin. On top of the documentation, it's very easy to extend, and it has a great community behind it. So it's definitely something that I would invest my time and money in if I was looking to go after a pure membership solution. So I also want to do a quick jump over here to their feature list, just because it's so long. I didn't want to try to list it all off, but I also wanted everyone to take a quick look. Again, the links in the documents, we don't need to review all these, but I'll slowly scroll real fast. And again, you're looking at a couple marketing add-ons, and authorized.net is the only real difference between the bottom and the middle tier. But that's totally up to you guys. This isn't about buying MemberPress. It's just showing you the functionality and making the cost transparent. So getting started with MemberPress setup, you have a couple options here. You have to do the generic setup, just the basic settings. Payment settings, you're going to have to add memberships. You're going to have to create some groups. You don't have to create groups, but it would be better use case if you do. You're going to have to define some rules, set up your premium content, or figure out how you're going to do that, and decide how you're going to handle unauthorized content, and go through and customize your reminders. So let's take a look at some of these settings. This is your general settings. We're going to go over this in the walkthrough a little bit later, but as you can see, you have all the different areas broken down into tabs. The LearnDash tab is enabled because of our integration add-on, and that is, well, I'll show you how to turn that on once we get to the walkthrough. All these are actually have a lot of details, and I want to definitely go over that. I felt like copying all that over would just be kind of a waste, but we'll definitely go over that in a moment. Payment settings. You can have more than one gateway at a time. As for testing purposes, I have Sandbox set up for PayPal. I also have an offline mode turned on. As you can see, I have the third one down here just as an example, so you can see all the other payment options and how that would work. Once you log into PayPal, you add your IPN URLs. That's kind of it. I mean, all you have to do is say, I want to use PayPal Express, log into PayPal, get your credentials, add them here and save it, and then you're good to go. If you want to have them just go to PayPal and come back, then you can do the PayPal standard. Stripe, pretty easy as well. So again, all you have to do is just add your keys, your 2 cassette keys. You're going to have to do more work on Stripe and PayPal side than you will on the actual MemberPress side. Memberships, this is 2 sections. We'll go over this in a moment, but this is the left side is the main body underneath the content, and you have your registration, permissions, price box, advanced, and LearnDash. Again, LearnDash comes when you add our plugin, and this will show you how to set up the actual membership settings. And then you have your membership terms. You have your price, your reoccurring, when it happens, if it's a trial period or not, if it's a limited payment cycle or not, and go over that a little bit more later. So groups. So what groups are is, think of it as pricing tables, honestly. When you create a group, it creates a pricing table structure view for your users to be able to compare your memberships with. It does make it an easier shopping experience. I would definitely recommend leveraging these short codes. This membership webinar is not about the design side of a MemberPress site. That can be in 2 or 3 full webinars on how to set up all the emails and aesthetics and conversion funnels. But I would recommend at least setting up one group with all of your members added to it. You can see where it says VIP in the middle of my screen. That is a membership level. If I hit the little plus sign, it can add more here, and I'll show you this again. The live webinar groups, again, are bundles of memberships that display in a pricing table fashion. The MemberPress plugin creates that pricing table for you, or you can extend that with however you'd want with your own page builder or custom code, and just use the registration links. So rules. These are all the rules you can use to define and set up your content. We're going to go over this again more, but I'd recommend locking down all your courses. A lot of people lock down their entire site and then use exceptions. You can do some cool things here. MemberPress uses rules to lock down and control everything. Instead of you going in and taking your site that might have been around for years and trying to figure out, how do I lock down all these blog posts, or how do I lock down certain pages or categories, you can actually use these conditional statements and say, lock down all these child pages of this page, or lock down every blog post that has this tag, or lock down everything in this category. As you can see from the list, it's pretty extensive, and you can hide or show almost anything without any custom coding based off of your current setup, as long as you've been consistent up to this point. A lot of people will use VIP or premium or membership and tags and filter that stuff out. Sometimes they'll just hide all their video content and tag things with video and use video as an upsell. So again, we'll go over this in a little bit. Reminders. I think I got a tip in here, and I'll talk about this now and when we get to the tip. When you're using WordPress on a default host, you're going to be sending emails through a default host, usually PHP. That's been a function that's been around for many years, and because of that, it's been taken advantage of by spammers, and it's no longer a reliable source. I would recommend watching our SMTP or email, getting WordPress to send you emails webinar on how to make sure that your emails do send and not end up in spam,
because when you're doing reminders and using a membership plugin, you're going to be sending a lot of emails. Yep, here it is. Let's. I thought I had more of them here, but there's a different section. So this is the reminders, but there's also a whole nother like list we'll go over in the walkthrough of emails that the system sends. But these are reminders in case your credit card fails or subscription fails or anything like that. So you could, on a monthly subscription, you could be sending 3 or 4 emails that are just reminder info emails to your learners, and making sure that that goes through successfully is going to really help your involvement. So integrating LearnDash with MemberPress. It's pretty simple actually. If you have an active install of LearnDash in our add-ons, you're going to see our integration with MemberPress. And if you have active install of MemberPress, then you're good. You can literally just click Add Now. Now you do this in a. My mic messed up. Sorry about that. Make sure you do this in a staging environment to make sure everything works the first time before you push it live, obviously. But it really is one click, and then all you have to do is configure your settings, your courses, meaning lock your course down and tell it which membership level it belongs to. Let's go over that. So you can see that I have my LearnDash add-on, my LearnDash plugin active. So I have the add-ons menu, and we have the MemberPress plugin active. And then I'm going to go over to my course. Now that I know my course is handled through MemberPress, I'm going to make sure my course is set to closed. This doesn't mean no one can add it. It just means I'm going to let a different system handle this now, and LearnDash is no longer going to manage the enrollment process of this course, or the sales process, I mean. So what happens now is I can use the course price. That's a generic input. Whatever I put there is going to represent on the course page. And then whatever I put in this input would be whatever the button goes to on my current LearnDash course page. So what I want that to do is I want that URL to be the corresponding registration link for my new MemberPress membership level that is equivalent to this course, or that gains access to this course. And as long as those two match, it's going to link up, it's going to work fine. And we'll also do one other step I'll show you when we get to the walkthrough. And yeah, this is the membership options. So when you're actually on the membership and everything else is set up, your courses already exist, and you're creating a new membership, you would click on the LearnDash tab and select which courses that membership would gain access to if you purchased it. So you can either do one at a time, or you can do all of them, or you can do them in different levels. It really depends on however you want to set up your membership site. A lot of people do levels, one-offs, or a blanket, and so you gain access to everything at a higher rate. Okay, one little caveat with MemberPress. Because it's very resource intensive in how it has to go through and add everything to the courses and make sure that when you sign up for a course, you're actually getting added to all the courses. It has to go through Crons to make sure all those resources are assigned appropriately. That being said, it doesn't always work on all hosts. And in order to make sure that works, we would recommend setting up a cron to make sure that always happens. So what happens is your server probably gets tired or forgets or skips it or doesn't trigger the cron right. We have a whole webinar. We talk about that for 15-20 minutes on why crons mess up. I recommend checking that out, but I definitely recommend setting up crons for your MemberPress site, especially if you have more than one course at a time. You can see the here's a documented article on how to do that on our support site, and the webinar reviewing Crons is at the bottom link. These slides will be posted with the video, so everyone should be able to use these in the future. So it's walkthrough time. Okay. We're doing okay on time. We should be able to do this in about 10 minutes or so. Okay. So on the On the left is my private incognito browser. This isn't important right now, but just so everyone, I'm sorry, the left is incognito. I'm going to refresh these and we'll get this working as we go. This side does not matter. The right side is the actual live site that we're going to be working on. It is a multi-site of a LearnDash and using the Astra theme with the starter theme template, LearnDash Academy. I ran the install on this as a fresh install, and the only thing that we did was we turned off the WooCommerce connection stuff and the WooCommerce plugin itself, because we're now going to be using MemberPress. I have not turned on MemberPress yet, and that's where we are with this install. I actually made a recording of that. I don't know if I'm going to post that or not. But if not, I'll be happy to do a cleaner recording. I ended up with the grid view looked weird, and I didn't like the way it turned out. And I think that was my permissions issue on the import. Not important for right now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the MemberPress site plugin first. Please don't judge me by the amount of plugins I have. This is a multi-site for testing. I would never install and add all these at once. And since I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and add it too, but I'm going to show you how else you can add it. I'm going to add the LearnDash MemberPress integration plugin. I probably passed it. So that's all I'm going to do, and that's as far as adding those plugins go. So if I was using LearnDash and I wanted to add that already, if my license was activated, I could have gone LearnDash Addons and added it here. Our documentation also has instructions on how to install that with a link if you're logged in and active as well. Okay, so those are the two plugins we have to install. Now I'm going to come over here and look at MemberPress. What we're going to do is do a quick overview first, and then we'll come back and maybe do a little bit more setups. So think of your memberships as if this was WooCommerce. This is your plugins. Your products. This is your different levels. You can set this up to be mini to one or one to one. It's up to you. And we'll go ahead and take a look at what. Now, actually, before I do that, we should look at the settings. I tried to add a membership earlier, and it's like you can't add a membership. You have to have a setting set up. Payment set up, which makes sense. The same things when I tried to add rules earlier. I had to have a membership in place before I can add rules. So it told me that in the alert, and I thought that was nice. I did get a little bit antsy at first, and then I read the alert. It gave me a little warning, and I was like, oh, okay, it made perfect sense. So if you follow the on-screen instructions and the documentation, you should have no problems. So let's first take a look at the settings, and then we'll go back in to the membership side. Okay, so the first tab is just our license information, not that big of a deal. And then we have pages. So pages is by default, when you add MemberPress, it's going to create these pages for you. If you don't have these pages, it'll generate them for you, or you can set these pages to be whatever you want and then delete them. So the login accounts, thank you, were generated when MemberPress was activated. I have not touched anything on this page. But you could, though. Like if you wanted to change the way your plans or your registration slugs were, that's what these are for. These are labels. Redirect unauthorized users. You can say, okay, if anyone lands on this page and it's locked down, I want them to go to my plans page, or I want them to go to my pricing page. So you could use this and redirect everyone to an upsell page, or however you would like. So there is a lot of features here. I didn't touch anything on this page. The first two columns I didn't mess with because I wanted to be able to have some of my pages open and play with different forms on the actual logged out pages, a little bit different per area, just as an example. So my accounts, again, I only changed one thing on this page, to be honest with you. These were in by default. No, actually, two things I changed. Password. I wanted the password to be strong, and I wanted to show the password. By default, it was hide. I said show, and I wanted it to be strong because the weakest part of WordPress security is always the user password and lack of updating, because the community is pretty good about patching the problems. If those problems don't get updated or weak passwords, that's going to lead to problems. And if we can prevent that here, it's going to be less headache down the road. The other thing I did is I set it up, the login, logout redirects. I said every time someone logs out, go to the home page. Every time they log in, go to their account page. But that's it. I set these two URLs, and I set the password strength just for safety. I didn't change anything else on this page. You didn't have to. All these settings are what I would use out of the box, and they have them set up that way. So far, I mean, it's a pretty easy setup. You have to add your license key and then maybe set some redirects. So as an example, I added a custom field to sign up, and we'll look at this over here. Favorite transformer. I added that here. I can add all types. So we have text, email, URL, drop down, all types of options to extend your checkout process. Now, let's be honest though, a long checkout process is going to deter signups. It's going to slow down conversions. It's going to mess things up. So I would try to leave this as simple as possible and extend these profile fields once logged in. You can do that too. You can say show on sign up or not show on sign up, or make them required or not. I would make your registration form as small as possible and not worry about it. But with MemberPress, you can make this extensive as you need to. That's a pretty cool feature. And this can also be different per form too, which we'll go into if we have time. The payments we talked about earlier, it's nothing much else we have to do here. But if you were to add another payment option, you can see you would just need your API username and password, your signature, you'd be good to go. Same thing with Stripe. You just need your connect with Stripe, go through their little wizard. You would spend more time on Stripe and PayPal than you would making sure that it worked on this side. So we're not going to mess with that. Emails. So remember earlier when I was saying make sure your SMTP plugin works, and you have the reminders area, which is here where you can set more reminders. Well, these are the default notices that actually are shipped with MemberPress. These are for your users. These are for your admins. If you wanted to include privacy links, you can. More form settings here. Now, one cool thing is we had a whole webinar on setting up and sending email. They have an SMTP area tied into their plugin using the same plugins that we recommend to leverage to fix your SMT plugin issue. And they have a nice little walkthrough guide. So I would highly recommend to follow their instructions and set this up. I personally like the SendGrid option. SendGrid has a free version sending up to 100 or 1,000 emails. I forget what it is a day, but I actually pay for it. It's pretty inexpensive. I pay for like 14, and I think I have like 100 sites using it for that monthly fee. But it's definitely worth it. I would follow their instructions, and I would leverage WP Mail SMTP plugin. It seems to work nice with MemberPress. Let's get back to the settings. You can add a bunch of add-ons. I have not added any of the add-ons, which are here, to extend the marketing capabilities. But since that's how you do it, let's take a quick look at these add-ons. If you go with a larger level, you can get access to all of these. Smaller levels, we reviewed that. Here's their affiliate system. Now, two things that I really like here is the Amazon Web Service. If you don't want to pay for a Vimeo or a YouTube Pro or Wistia, you can use Amazon Web Services and add your videos and directly to Amazon through your MemberPress site. There's also a corporate account add-on. So if you wanted to have groups and let somebody manage groups of users, their corporate account is a fantastic add-on as well. And for any of you who actually have to do invoicing or send things to accounts receivable, there is a PDF invoicer add-on as well that would make your life much easier, along with all the add-on marketing plugins. Oh, I opened this in a new tab. I don't gotta mess with that. This is your general store information. This is the stuff that would be used in your emails, headers, short codes, things like that. And then basic settings for your currency. If you need to override things right now, I'm telling it to block search engines because this is a demo site. And I definitely look at all these settings. Everything has a little tool to help you figure out what they're for. The documentation is really, really well documented on top of their standalone support site. We have some questions later on in the document. Someone asked in the Facebook group, how would I handle VAT tax? Well, the beauty is with a paid service like MemberPress, they handle that for you. So as long as you know what your rates are, you can upload a CSV of all your tax rates and it's handled right here for you. I'm not an accountant, so I don't want to tell you what to do. Lucky enough in Florida, this would be considered a service and there isn't a tax on the actual service. So we don't have to pay taxes on courses, but if you were selling things or giving some type of tangible good, you probably would have to select taxes. Again, not an accountant, and that really depends on your area, but MemberPress takes care of that and supports all the VAT tax and sales tax stuff for you out of the box. You don't have to think about it. No other needed plugins or add-ons to make that work. Let me turn off the taxes because we're not doing that. And then for LearnDash, when you add LearnDash and you already have pre-existing tools, courses, you want to run the retroactive tool to get everything just sort of set up and talking well together just to make sure. And that's it for the settings. So I want to go over that real fast one more time. I added my key. I didn't do that as part of this webinar. Added the key. That's all we had to do. Nothing on pages. Configured some of the setup stuff here. Made sure that the URLs were set up for redirect purposes, and I made my password stronger. Literally, that's it on this view. I extended my sign-up process. In fact, I made it smaller. I did not show the address field. That wasn't needed. Set up some basic options here for payments. Didn't touch any of the marketing or email stuff. Added my basic store information just so my site's filled out more. Made sure search engines are blocking me. You would not want to do that. And made sure LearnDash was set up. So that's all we have to do for setup purposes for MemberPress. But I want to actually go a step further and show you the LearnDash side. Again, we already have the add-on installed. It's activated. That's all we have to do here. So now what we'd have to do is go look at our courses. So quickly, I'm going to go over to our courses. You can see that it's locked down. We're getting access with these now with paid with MemberPress, which is nice. We're going to take this email marketing strategy one. I want to go to settings. I want to tell that it's closed. And I need to add the URL to my course here. And how I'm going to get that is I'm going to go over to MemberPress, memberships. And this is this course that I had set up. We haven't looked at that yet. I'm going to do that next. But I'm going to grab this URL here. And I'm going to paste it here. And that's all we have to do to make sure that the LearnDash side will start working with MemberPress side. So technically, we're good there. We're good on the LearnDash side. Nothing else we have to do to this course. We will have to go over and modify the actual MemberPress course. So let's take a look at the MemberPress course. Now, I could add a new one, but I'm going to just look at these two real fast because they're already here and we're running a little low on time. So the important areas of your actual member course, of your MemberPress membership, is the pricing that we talked about earlier. You can say that it has a starting price, it's one time or reoccurring. You can say that it's yearly, weekly, monthly, custom, however you would like. It has a trial period. You're allowed for multiple trial periods. And you can also say that this is a max payment of, so you can do payment plans. You can do payment plans with expiration, or you can do payment plans with lifetime access. Recommend to come in here and play with these. It's very extensible. You can probably do pretty much whatever you would think of playing with some of these settings. It's very, very extensible. As far as the permissions go over here, this is where I was saying earlier, where you can play with each setup form a little different. So you can make a blanket one and send everyone to a sign up page and have them sign up through a proper checkout sign up registration. And I think you should spend more time doing that. But you can also make each form unique and individual per course too. So you can come in here and say, show the active field, don't show it. You can change the sign up button so it doesn't say a sign up. You can say register here if you would like. So this text directly corresponds to this button. You can do different payment types. So if you want to say, for this course, I'm only going to take offline payments, or for this course, I'm going to do online payments. So maybe the first time this course starts, it's actually an in-person course. Everyone meets, they pay, and then from there on out, everything is online. So that might be a nice way to leverage offline payments and with course memberships. So one thing that got me, this is a gotcha. I could not figure out how to make this form show up. Like, it kept saying, you don't have permission to view this. You must, log in to view this page. And what I had to do is I had to copy the short code from here. I had to take my membership registration form. I just copied it right from here. Then I went to permissions, and I said that who can purchase this membership level? I said guest. Anyone could. Guests can. Everyone. Memberships. So however you want to set that up. And I pasted the membership form here. Once I pasted it here and I said anyone can register, the form showed up. I felt dumb. I fought with that for like 30 minutes trying to figure that out. I just had to put the shortcode here to make the custom form show up for that membership. So that's all you had to do. Now, this is a little bit more than what needs to be here. I was just playing with the shortcodes. Now, the pricing box, this little preview pricing box here, since we're talking about it, I'll go ahead and open this up. And we are running over on time. I'll try to wrap this up quickly. So if we look at this, I added a new pricing group. And you can add all your courses here. So you can compare however you would like to this pricing group here. I'm not going to click on it. If you add more things to it, it really will just create yourself a pricing table. So by the more things you add to the group, the more columns you will get in your comparison table. So if you want a pricing table, you use groups, and each group will create a pricing table for you, and then you can use that to sign up for your courses. If I click this sign up, it's going to take me here. Okay, so we have memberships done, groups done. We should be good there. So the last thing I want to show you is, okay, so VIP. If I click this VIP, what I did is I said, if you sign up for this level, you'll actually gain access to all these courses. Now, if you add more courses, you're going to have to come back in and check more boxes. This isn't going to automatically add courses here, but my VIP membership level right now is giving access to all my courses. And again, this LearnDash tab came when we added the integration plugin. You can tell it what you want for registration purposes. You add the form to the permissions area, who can sign up, all that. So tell it which courses you need. You hit update, you're good to go. So let's do a quick checkout process to make sure this works. The last thing I didn't show is coupons. It does have a robust coupon library. I'm not a big fan of coupons. If you add coupons, chances are someone's going to try to find one. They're going to get bored, irritated, leave, and they're not going to come back and complete that process. So for demonstration purposes, it works. But would I use it? No, I would not sign up or use coupons on my site. I also feel that it devalues your course. So I try to maybe give more features or promotions other ways. I try not to cheapen what I would offer. That's a personal tip, in my opinion only. Okay, so let's do a quick checkout process here. And when I added the coupon code, it automatically readjusted the total at the top. These two checkboxes for privacy policy and terms and conditions are also optional. I want to click register. This should check me out. It should automatically add me all of my courses. If I click my account or my account, you can see that this is the default LearnDash stuff, just like before. And I'm now automatically enrolled in all 3 courses. So that was a lot of me talking to do very little actual work to set up a membership site to allow myself to gain access to all the memberships. So that's a quick demo. So I hope that isn't too confusing. I had 2 quick questions too that I wanted to cover. So these are questions from the group. Pablo asked, he was experiencing a small issue that every time a user cancels a membership, that they are still enrolled in the course after the subscription expires. The only way he's able to fix this is to run the retroactive tool manually. Is there any other way around this? Or is there? So my thought behind this is this sounds like a cron problem again. And I would definitely think that this would have to do with hosting and caching. So I would make sure the cron is running properly. If the cron is running, this problem should go away. And I think that it's probably something to do with that, if I would have to guess. If Pablo's on the call, if you're still having problems and it's not a cron, please reach out. I know that the MemberPress team, very supportive, and we'll also be happy to help if we can. But I really think that this issue is probably related to cron. And I had one other issue. James asked about taxes. We talked about that. MemberPress includes the VAT tax, sales tax, all included. If you want to use it, if you don't want to use it, you don't have to. Also, we had, I forgot the copy of their name. They asked about using MemberPress and WooCommerce at the same time. We hinted at that earlier. A lot of times members will lock down their WooCommerce site behind a gateway of the membership and use it like a perk, or sometimes they'll run it side by side. MemberPress usually is the thing that takes care of the courses for you. There's probably other ways, but they recommend using it as a perk and behind the lockdown, not necessarily for selling your courses. And that's it. We have a couple minutes. If anyone wants to stick around, if anyone has any questions, definitely happy to answer those.
Yeah, James, thanks so much for going over that. I know it's this is a topic that can go into a ton of different detail and different rabbit holes depending on the setups. There's a few questions here. I want to touch on a few because they're probably more popular than others, but encourage all of you, if you have more questions, you can always post in the Facebook group, whether James or myself or anyone else that's in the group, they can probably answer your question or at least point you in the right direction. So with anything, when you're setting up, whether it's LearnDash or WooCommerce, or in this case, MemberPress, emails tend to be a big item that people want to get configured properly so they're communicating with their customers and so forth. There's a question here with SMTP. How do we connect the MemberPress emails and the LearnDash emails? I think this, I'm pointing out this question because I think it highlights some confusion sometimes between the overlap between the two products. So I don't know if you want to elaborate on those. I can lend some words as well, but with SMTP, if you set that up, that's going to apply to any email from the site, first off, correct?
Yeah, like that's a blanket fix. I definitely recommend going back and watching that webinar. We go over 4 or 5 different options depending on your setup, or whether it be paid email through your host or Google Apps, or however you're doing email for your business. We cover it in that webinar, and it would go over on how to actually set up the SMTP or use a third-party service to not only make sure your email sending, but help prevent it from being marked as spam, as long as you're actually not spamming. So I would start there. And as far as the question goes about how the emails overlap, LearnDash will still have some emails, but if you're no longer selling through LearnDash and you're no longer selling through WooCommerce, those enrollment emails would probably come from MemberPress, and anything that triggers those would be MemberPress. But if there's still emails that are triggered through the routine process of LearnDash, like course completion or comments or anything like that, that is separate, but still, because of the SMTP plugin, should work perfectly fine.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's, I'm glad that you highlighted that. There could be different triggers for these emails, but if you're using an SMTP plugin, it's going to apply to any email from the site. So sticking on emails real quick, Matt asked a question here for formatting the reminder emails and such. Can you include styling and branding? I think he's referring to MemberPress. So I don't know if that was something that you happened to notice.
You can. There's tons. Again, there could be an entire webinar on that, and I already felt like I was including too much in our short time. But if you click on emails, you can edit it to your heart's content. You can do inline styles, embed all your content here. If you can write, if you can use WordPress, you can extend your email, and it's all right here for you. If you can see my screen, two things. I would make sure if you're linking to anything, you're using the absolute path, like the full URL, because if you do /logo here and it looks great, you send it, web browser doesn't know what /logo is. So make sure you're using the entire URL in anything that you're linking. And if you're adding extra CSS, emails are messy. Emails are very old school web. And if you wrote HTML or CSS 20 years ago, you would be great at writing emails, email copy, HTML, CSS. It's very bloated, and you have to do things a little bit more longhand, and you would want to make sure that everything is documented there in there. So you don't want to be too daunting, but if you want to get fancy, you have to know some CSS. But yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Okay, and we're coming to the top of the hour, so I'll do one more question here. It's more about membership permissions. Again, if you have more questions, please post them in the Facebook group, and we can try to answer. For people selling courses, buy a membership and you get access to all the courses. Does every course need to be its own membership in MemberPress in that case?
No. So if you look at these two examples, I have one that's set up to sell a single course only, and I had one called VIP that is selling all of them. And we'll take a quick look here. So for the one that's selling a single course, now this is obviously not the best name. I was just doing that for demonstration purposes, but I only have the single email marketing strategy course selected. And as far as the VIP one goes on the LearnDash tab, and again, this tab comes with our integration plugin. So all you have to do is add that integration, LearnDash to MemberPress, activate that, automatically get this, this tab. And you can see on the VIP one, I gave them access to all 3. Now, I only have 3 courses currently. Now, this would not automatically add more courses as I added them, but you could go back and check them and then save it and update it, and everyone should gain access to that new course. If they don't, you could always go to settings after you added them and then click the run button here, and that would make sure that if you adjusted who gets what access, that would fix it.
Yeah, and the follow-up would be, there's a follow-up question. If all those were available individually as well, you need a membership for each though. Yeah, that's correct. So that'd be the same thing for WooCommerce, for example. If you wanted a product, if you wanted to sell each course individually with a product in WooCommerce, you'd have a product for each course, and then you'd have one product that when you purchase it gives you all courses. Same thing. So I think, I want to respect everybody's time. Thank you, James, for going through this. Thank you, everybody, for taking time out of your day to attend. Hopefully you found this useful. Again, we're always here to answer questions. The Facebook group is a great resource. If you have ideas for more webinars, post them in there. We use the Facebook group to create these the topics for these webinars. And with that said, thank you so much again for attending, and enjoy the rest of your day, evening, or morning.
Thanks, everyone.